What's up, players? It's Warboss Tay. I've been trying to figure out this orientation for this live video for the last couple of minutes. Can't seem to do it, so I guess we're just gonna have to film it and record everything in portrait mode, which is kind of weird for me, but oh well. Let's zoom in a little bit. We're working on the Skaven Deathmaster today. I did the first half of the video where I unbox the frame and take a look at the instructions. We'll take a quick look one more time to refresh ourselves. Looks like a very simple build. Yeah, the biggest parts first into place, then slotting in the different little bits. No option for different variations. It's all pretty much what you see on the frame is what you get. So we're gonna get started because this is gonna be a nap time assembly, which means we have until my son wakes up from his nap and my lady boss calls me screaming to get inside the house to help her take care of him. So I was able to do all of my chores and now I can play with some of this Skaven-y goodness. I love when this came out. This really should have come out during Warhammer Fantasy because this Skaven Deathmaster is sorely needed. It is such a beautiful figure, and we're gonna start with the ruined masonry here. Hope you're all doing well out there. Drop me a comment. Let me know what you're up to today, this fine Friday afternoon in sunny, actually overcast California. Got our Games Workshop plastic glue and a $2 hobby knife. Oh yes, I swear, man, if you can find the right tools at the right price, then you really feel good about yourself. So I found this. I was like, $2 for a craft knife? Was that like a Joann's or a Michael's or something? It was on sale right at the register, and I said, oh yes, definitely, I will buy that. I mentioned this in my unboxing video, but you'll notice that the twin-tailed comet, the very old world masonry, makes it fit any kind of old world setting, which hopefully we're going to be seeing a lot more masonry pieces like this to get us all in the groove for some old world action. Let's see how well it fits in. I probably should have dry fitted this together. Yep, the leg there attaches, or the foot attaches to the leg rather. Look at him like climbing the masonry. That is terrific. Yeah, look at that. Look at the detail. I wasn't sure what this was because of the painting on the, because of the painting, the style of painting on the box art there, but that looks like a claw. I thought, oh, maybe it's like little knives or maybe it's some keys. No, it looks like a claw, like he would hold on to that, and looks like a little hand rake actually. Okay, what's next? The cowl. The Simon cowl. Hey, oh, dad jokes. This is a great design here. It looks so Skaven-y. It's got lots of draping tendrils, fine little delicate bits at the bottom. You don't want to manhandle this one too much. Got some little holes there. Some beautiful, beautiful piece there. Looks like this just goes right over the back, maybe? All right, we're whipping through this because I've only got until my son wakes up from his afternoon nap. Okay, then 10. All right, we're into the rat tail already. Awesome. I see all these Nova Open previews, and it really inspires me. It makes me want to paint again because I've been, like all of us, I've been dealing with a lot of real world, real life issues, very immediate issues, and being able to see a lot of great models showcased. How do you find, you just gotta shoot in the dark, huh? getting to see all the new models being previewed really makes you excited about where the hobby's going. Yeah, who knows if that's incorrect or not, but once that glue sets, it won't matter either way. All right, 5, 4, 5, and 9. See how this is supposed to go. This looks like the back of the head. 4 is the hand with the shuriken, and 9 is the knife. Okay, 4, 5, and 9. Here's the hand with that shuriken. I mean, this is such a great sculpt. I mentioned in that other video where I kind of criticized the scale of this guy because he doesn't look like a regular Skaven clan rat. But really, once you take away that this might look a little out of scale, a little different than the rest of your clan rats, then it's just such an amazing sculpt. That they had that Underworlds, Warhammer Underworlds Warband of Skaven. I really wish I could have gotten that. That looks so beautiful. Like the Skaven and the what were they fighting? Were those Dark Eldar or like Chaos Slanesh? Purple guys. Okay, this is a good smooth fit right there. I love how the hand is just like lazily dropped down. He's not like primed to strike with it. He's not cocked back like he's gonna fling the shuriken. He's just like hunched over this masonry, and that hand, that arm is just like hanging, like just ready to go at a moment's notice to whip that up. Let's see over here. Okay, this is gonna be a very thin join right there. It's very small. So make sure that you do apply a little bit of pressure. To that connection, yeah, because I could see how easily your hand could slip. Let's see what the angle is supposed to be. Is there an angle? Looks like there is. I've got mine with a little bit of a tilt. It looks like he's supposed to be a little bit more facing to the front and not as tilted up. So we'll just change that a little bit. Don't want him to drip that poison onto himself. The trick with these is you always got to turn them to make sure that the pieces are in line, like the hand is not floating outside of the wrist, because then that would be silly. That wouldn't make sense biologically. You don't want that poison from that poison blade dripping onto him. So I've been using Citadel plastic glue for these miniatures because, I mean, I'm already buying the Games Workshop stuff, and it's with glue I find it's better to go with the devil you know. So the plastic glue has always been pretty good. You could also use I've had a little bit of success with AK's quick cement, extra thin. I like my cement to be a little bit on the thicker, more gel side. So I think Tamiya is another brand that I used to use a lot, but it was just too thin. And I found that I had better success with these other ones. Okay, how does this work? How does this hood work? Okay, it's good. It shows you a view of what it's supposed to look like there. Max, hey, that's a pretty cool figure. Maybe I should get that one for the mini collection. I've never painted any Skaven before. Max, they are great. They are fantastic to paint. I love the way they're so easy to dry brush and to dip, and they take the shades really well. So I would definitely suggest picking some up, even if you maybe try them out go on eBay, go to that window box vendor that I really like, or just type in single Skaven clan rat and just see how you like them, because they're a miniature they're an army that I remember painting for the first time that I didn't think I would enjoy, and I ended up finding them not only easy to paint but a lot of fun as well. What am I doing? Make sure you don't press the limbs into the body. I just got plastic glue all over my finger, but that's okay. I was trying to shave at this little piece of flash down here. so it can take to the base smoothly. Yeah, I'm going to be using this guy for my Warhammer Old World army. So I'm putting him on a 25mm square base, and I'll put a link down into the assembly video. And if I can remember after I finish and wrap up this live video, I'll put the link to it as well. It's an Amazon affiliate link, but it'll give you 100 25mm texture square bases. As we know from the recent Old World article, they're really looking at raising the footprint of your miniatures by putting any human-sized infantry guys onto 25mm squares, taking them off of that smaller 20mm square and putting them onto 25s. It means that your units are going to have more breadth and more scope. I talk about this in the unboxing video for the Skaven. I really think it's a good move for them to have done this, because it will let you look like you have bigger units if you don't have as many miniatures. It's an investment, you know, monetarily. I just wish they didn't have to make people with their collections rebase their miniatures. Hopefully there's a workaround to that. But if you're starting from scratch and you're thinking about getting into Warhammer the Old World, just all you have to do is pick up some of these miniatures that go back and forth. And like Skaven, you can't do this obviously with Caradron Overlords or Fire Slayers or the Iodineth Deepkin, but you've got a lot of options to choose from if you want to get into the Old World. Like most of the Soulblight Gravelords can be used as vampire counts. You've got these dwarves that are cities of Sigmar dwarves that you can just put onto some square bases. I'm not even going to mess with them with the rounds. I'm going to build them with square bases, and that's how I'm going to be doing it. All right, that should have been enough time to let that rubber cement, that plastic glue dry. So we're going to move on to the next piece, which is the head 6, 7, and 8. Okay, so you've got a snout and then 2 sides of the cowl. I already did my Simon Cowell joke, so I'm not going to repeat it. 6 is here. Oh, I thought this was an arm, but it's really the head. I was thinking like, oh, how is he going to know how am I going to know what side of the cowl is which? Duh, because the eye is only on one side. I was like, oh, I hope I don't glue it on the wrong side. Okay. What are we looking at? This is a tricky piece. Okay, looks like it says it's supposed to go like this. So that's what we'll do. I'm just gonna put it drop, tiny little drop there to get the left side on, and then we'll press the right side. If I can finish this build without my lady boss opening the door to the garage and screaming at me to take care of the baby, then mission accomplished. Man, he's got so much energy now. I watch him in the mornings while my lady boss rests, and he is just so curious about everything. He has so much energy. I think if you told me what it would be like to be a father, his one weapon there reminds me of the throwing glaive from the movie Crawl. Yep, I probably wouldn't have believed it. I love that his weapon, his throwing star here, it looks so Skaven-y with the, you know, the triangle design with the branches on the sides and the bottom. It looks just like it perfectly matches a Clan Eshin rat. It's just terrific. All right, so that should be, was that both sides? Did I get them both? Looks like I did. All right. Think about Skaven too, they're so cute. They're so adorable. Like, nah, we're vicious, evil. Rah. You know what's evil? A lot of the Slaanesh stuff they're making now looks really gross and evil. Man, that new warband they showed on the Nova preview. Oh, some of those designs. There's like only 3 guys, right, in that little warband, but boy, oh boy. Spooky stuff. Okay, done. Let's put him onto this beautiful display base. My painting cork from 2012. And there you have it. He looks beautiful. He looks really good. All right, players, let's see if we can get a little bit more light on him. We'll do a final wrap up, and then I will film the tail end of my unboxing video. I'll slap that all together and then put that up on YouTube. But yeah, looking at him now, you've got a couple of different planes you're building him on. And by planes, I mean just looking at him from the front. This is one plane that you're looking at him flat, right? But if you turn him to the side and you've got his hand pressed up against the body, like if you push it too hard and the hand goes too far in like that, then it's not going to look that great. So you want to make sure there's distance. So he's got the plane that the arm is on, and then the plane of his body. It's all about taking a look at the different lines, right? You want to make sure your tail is glued and it's adhering to the body so that there's no question to where it's coming from, where it's attached. I just noticed that his cowl is really like, it's draped over the masonry, the stonework. I thought it was just like hanging off of his back, but it's like falling off of his back at this angle, and then it's leaning against the stonework. That is amazing. That is such great quality in design. Like they could have made it so that the tatters only went down to his feet, right? Down a little bit past his tail, but the fact that they made it drape all the way down here past the masonry is, I think, terrific. All right, so how would I paint up this model? I think I would go with that Clan Eshin color scheme. Deathmasters are known for being, ninjas, sneaky, very, very sneaky creatures, sticking to the shadows, night runners, gutter runners kind. So that's how I'm gonna paint him, lots of dark black colors, 30 black for the pants and for the shirt, and a blue black for the cowl, so that you see some different styles of highlighting. I'm gonna go with dirty brown highlights for the blacks on the trousers, and then dark blue highlights for the cowl itself. And I think sticking with the box art for the stonework seems to work. What I've been experimenting too, going back to when I painted my Dread Fleet, was using different kinds of washes to get into the cracks and crevices of the stonework, so that you're not just using black or Agrax Earthshade, but I think if you added Seraphim Sepia, you're gonna get a nice light brown glaze and finish off of the stonework. You could also add some BL10 green to the bottom ones to simulate like mold or moss growing. I think that's good. It's really fitting for this Skaven too. And I kind of like how it looks like it's in a sewer, but Games Workshop has put these tufts of grass there at the bottom. I think what I'm gonna do is maybe build it like it's like, or paint it and design it like he's in a little bit of a submerged sewer. So if I paint the bottom like mud, and then down here on the base, I could use some water effects, either this Secret Weapon CNX Realistic Water, or something else to just create the effect of some sewage, because that's kind of what it looks like to me. Of course, this could also be a figure that is on this crumbling piece of masonry and stonework somewhere in a ruined city, or somewhere that does not have a functioning sewer system. So if it's ruins, then you could really build it up any way you want. You could even build this to look like he's in a desert. Put sand on the base, and then paint it to make it look like he's stalking the ruins of some ancient crumbling civilization in the desert that's been submerged by sand. Beautiful figure, like I said, guys, and I'm thankful that you joined me painting him or gluing him together. Thankful that my baby is still sleeping, so I'm gonna get back to cleaning up around here and making sure that everything is nice for my session tonight. Okay, so talking about tonight, what I'm planning on doing is another live session. I'm gonna be unboxing these 2 packs of Voidborn. They're the Artel W faction that resembles the Dark Eldar, the Drukhari. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at both of them. They're supposed to be the stand-in for witches, but there are some male bodies in here as well. I'm going to be going, just like with the other characters, you could already take a look at some of the beautiful sculpts there. I'm going to be doing a unboxing, taking a look at them. I'm going to be actually building them up with covered torsos. I'm not going to do any naked bodies because I don't want to be content flagged on YouTube. I want to make sure that all of my stuff gets out to as large an audience as possible, and then we'll build them up together, just like we built up this Skaven Deathmaster. So I hope you stick around for that. That's going to be sometime later tonight. What I'm thinking of doing, okay, this is a crazy like idea that I've got rattling around in my brain, is I want to do like a morning show that you would see on YouTube, and you tune in every day at a certain time. If I can be consistent about putting them out at night, what I'd like to do is just have a morning show that I happen to be doing some kind of hobby work in the background. But I could talk about what's going on in culture, movies, not only just Warhammer hobbying stuff, but just make it a general kind of not radio show, but like like a morning podcast rather. That way I can get stuff done. I'm not just sitting behind a microphone and talking and falling asleep, but I'm actually working on stuff that might be interesting to look at. You could see at the beginning of the show how much stuff I've got on my table. You can see at the end of the show how much I was able to get done. And I think a good way to keep myself honest and timed for that is this amazing little hourglass that I don't remember where I got it, but I'm unpacking all the stuff I've got in my garage here and I found it. So maybe each morning show will last until the final grain of sand drops. That would be pretty cool. Just have it at the background there and be working, and then when the final sand grain has fallen, then we would end the show every day. That might be fun. Anyways, I do have a lot of work to catch up on. It wouldn't just be building stuff that I've got kicking around in my collection, but it could also be painting some things that I'm working on, like my, Heroes of Hobbyton miniatures that I'm trying to catch up on, as well as everything I'm doing to get ready for the old world. There's a lot. There's a lot that I've got on my plate. So I want to find a way to make it as fun and as interesting and entertaining to all of you, my audience, as possible. And yeah, you know what? I do think this is an excellent way to add a little bit of just something interesting to look at in the background while I'm working. So we're gonna keep you, Hourglass. You made it. You passed the test. You're going to Hollywood. Everybody else, thank you again for joining me. This video has been 23 minutes long, basically building from the sprue all the way up to here, the Skaven Deathmaster. So stay tuned because I'm going to be doing patching together the video for the assembly, looking at the components and the instructions, and then wrapping him up. And this was a lot of fun. I really like my Skaven. In fact, I really am tempted to get to work on the rest of these 200 Skaven I've got up here. Oh my goodness. The Plague Bearer butt and a Chaos Space Marine on the side. 200 Skaven clan rats, some elves from the Island of Blood. I still have to figure out what I'm going to do with that. Have I done any Flames of War? I actually have the starter set, Justin, the one they released a while ago, years ago. I don't even remember what edition it is. I've got the starter set. I took one look at it. I said, this looks like something I definitely want to do, and I just have not had the time to do it. But yeah, I've got the starter set somewhere. I think I had to cannibalize the box to use for something else. I believe it was the 101st and some Germans. I think the Germans had a truck. I don't remember if the Americans had a tank in it. But yeah, I do love the Flames of War, smaller scale. I think it's very interesting to paint and to work on. I've only worked with a smaller scale once, and I had a lot of fun doing it. And I think it's a great way to pump out a lot of finished models quickly. If you can just do, you can even use contrast paints, but I'm still a newbie to using contrast paints. I would use just regular basic, like spray paint everything in whatever color their uniform is, right? For Americans, it would be that drab brown. For the Germans, it would be that gray. And then paint the exposed skin areas, do any metallics that you want to. Hit them with a very watered down known oil. You don't want that known oil to pool or get too dark in the recesses. And then really just very, very light highlights. I think you could probably churn through a bunch in a very short amount of time. Flames of War is something, yeah, something that I always was interested in. Not only because of the real world historical aspect to it, but just because smaller scale stuff really is interesting to me. Which is why I'm interested in them bringing back that epic scale for the, what is it, Tactica Imperialis? Is that what they're calling it? I did a huge SS Armor Battalion. Yeah, and when you go to the game store and you see all of the stuff for Flames of War, the books and the amounts of different kits that they've got, there really is like a huge, huge market for it. I'm digging around in here because I'm looking for some old epic stuff. Ringo Simpkins sent me some epic minis a long time ago. A long time ago, Ringo Simpkins sent me a bunch of epic miniatures, and I've always thought that one day I would paint them up. Isn't it funny when you go looking through your through your drawers and you find things like, hey, I remember painting that. Commissar Jane, what are you doing there? I think this is becoming like a little bit of a preview of what my variety show would be. This is one of the first orcs I've ever painted. And as you can see, it was a horrible time. I did so badly. I didn't prime my miniatures. I painted straight on the model. We don't play by the rules. Yeah. Most of the times that's the better way to go, because otherwise you'd have everybody just sitting around like digging through books trying to see what move is legal and what you're supposed to do in what situation. Man, this is goblin green bases. Oh, everything looks so like shiny. Oh my gosh, this might be my new avatar, the new Warboste. Man, I'm thinking. Okay, so when we moved houses, I put all of my finished miniatures into these stand-up bins. I came digging in here to find some epic things, but now I'm finding all these like miniatures that were like the first things that I ever painted. This Forest Goblin Spider Rider. I wonder if I find all of my old miniatures and then do a project where I just try to paint them up to the best of my ability now. Like these old metal miniatures. They're very charming. And they're just so horribly painted. Here we go. Epic stuff. So yeah, like epic scale, smaller scale miniatures, they're so much easier to paint because you're really doing just a base coat and then the shades if you want to, and then I wouldn't even like highlight anything unless you're looking to highlight edges on armor for the Flames of War tanks, or even onto the infantry figures. I would only highlight maybe their helmets, their faces, and you don't have to go into detail with them at all because they're so small. And this is fun. Maybe I'll make a series digging through my old collection of stuff. That might be fun. I gotta keep her out though, because doing a lot of planning on doing a lot of videos with Commissar Bane and the guys. So Commissar Jane, welcome home. She's been on campaign. She's been deployed all this time. You gotta put her back with the boys. And this is another one Ringo sent me. Titan. That's the size of a Space Marine. I wonder if I still have the arms. Maybe I'll just do a series that's like a wait until the time runs out and then just look through my old drawer of things, because I'm trying to bring in some income, and of course YouTube money isn't really doing it. Why they bring back Epic 40K? Remember why is they bring back Epic 40K? A lot of people remember Epic and have fond memories of Epic. In fact, all of the old Games Workshop specialist games, a lot of people have good memories and wish that they had something comparable today, like Man of War or they thought they were going to do something like Manowar, but it ended up being Dreadfleet, which is a very contained, narrative-driven game. They seem to do pretty well with Space Hulk every time they release that, but they don't really do too much with it. I think this is from Black Powder, this Goblin Pirate. With Epic, I think they're dipping their toes into it, seeing what people think. The fact that they set it in 30K so that you can only use it in a 30K setting, like you can't really bring in, orcs and necrons and Eldar, all of the things that appear in 40K, because back in 30K there wasn't much knowledge of those things. In fact, I don't think they even knew about Tyranids in 30K, if my memory, my lore serves me right. I gotta go digging back into those old 30K books. I would love it if they did a 40K epic with all of the armies, and I think it's just too much of an investment, though. They wouldn't do. Okay, so that's gonna wrap it up for me, guys. I do hear my baby inside crying and calling me, so we're gonna wrap it up there. But I do have a lot more to share. No ship-to-ship game seems to stick around with Games Workshop. Isn't that sad? Like, Dreadfleet was so much fun to paint. The miniatures, the terrain. I loved in Dreadfleet how you paint up basically a miniature representing each faction. So it's not like you would have to go out and buy a dwarf box to paint a dwarf ship. You had that steam ship, you had the Skaven ship, you had it's interesting, they had that Cathay, the genies one, and then you had, of course, the High Elves had that beautiful white ship, and the ghost ship. I really love Dreadfleet. Going back through my memory now, I think they could have done a lot more with it. And not just the miniatures, like I said, but the terrain. The islands had so much life and character, and then you had like the little playing pieces, like the little dragons and the little steam boats, or not boats, but the steam planes, the gyrocopter things. It was just so much fun to paint. As a painter, it was such a great experience. And if you could pick up a Dreadfleet game for now that's not going to cost you like $500-$1,000, then it would be, number one, you should probably resell it on eBay for $500 or $1,000. But if you actually had the inclination to paint it, I think it would improve your skills as a painter. I say this to everybody, no matter what level of painter you are, if you take the time to paint everything in Dreadfleet, I think it's going to bump you up to the next skill level, without a doubt, for sure. More than painting any army, because with every army, you're painting one style, right? Even if you have different looking units. Chaos Space Marines, most of them look like Chaos Space Marines of whatever faction. And the same goes for regular Space Marine, Imperial Guard. You're going to get used to painting a certain style and certain colors really quickly. But with Dreadfleet, you had so many different styles of ships, and you really increased your ability to look at the fine details and paint all those tiny little cannons coming out the broadside. Everything was just so much fun to paint. And then if you really went to town and worked on the bases and you were painting the water effects, like really, it was so fun. And every ship had a different base size. So all of the ship's bases had different kinds of water features. Some of them were really frothy and foamy, especially around the hull of the ship. And some of them, like the Ghost ship, I remember had a totally different wave structure. And when you lift up the base, the way that they sculpted the waves, like a chaotic roiling sea, was just so much fun. It was amazing to look at. It was so much fun to paint. And I have some of my fondest painting memories from working on Dreadfleet. Yeah, any skill level, any painter at any skill level would benefit from diving into Dreadfleet. But look at that, we're already at 35 minutes, and my baby has quieted down inside, but I'm gonna run in and check up on them. So thanks again for joining me. Stay tuned. I'm gonna be releasing the Deathmaster unboxing today. And thank you for putting up with me in this new portrait format. Let me know what you think. I tried to set up this live stream like 6 different times. And when I got to try to rotate it to landscape, it kept saying the rotation was locked. And I had to turn it to a portrait. And my phone's not locked on portrait or anything. I don't know what's wrong with it. So yeah, we might be doing this some more if YouTube isn't offering me the option to do my live videos in landscape anymore. But is it distracting? Is it very different for you? Does it not matter because you're watching on a phone? Let me know what you think. And thanks again for joining me. Those of you who have, Justin and Max, thanks for the interaction in the comments. And for everybody else who's checking out the video later, I hope you're having a fun time out there doing whatever you're working on, painting or just listening to me on the bus or whatever. Thanks again for joining me, and we'll see you in the next video. Latest, player things. Meh.